Cities across globe welcome 2023 with fireworks and light displays. The Pacific nation of Kiribati was the first country to greet the new year, followed by Auckland in New Zealand, where people celebrated the arrival of New Year with fireworks launched from the city's sky tower. The UAE attempted to break two Guinness World Records by featuring 452 pyro drones and 15,000 nano lights, colors and shapes in their fireworks display in Abu Dhabi. With the dazzling fireworks and electrifying music, cities across India welcomed the year 2023 with much pomp and show. From Delhi to Mumbai and Chennai to Kolkata, the mood on December 31st night was like a merry-go-round. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar have greeted people on the occasion of New Year 2023. In a message, the President hoped that the new year will bring new happiness, goals, inspiration, and greater achievements in everyone's lives. President Murmu urged people to rededicate themselves to the unity, integrity, and inclusive development of the nation. She wished for the progress and prosperity of the glorious nation and the people in 2023. The last surviving astronaut from the first successful crewed space mission in NASA's Apollo program, Walter Cunningham, has died at the age of 90. NASA has confirmed Cunningham's demise. However, the cause of the death has not been confirmed. NASA's administrator Bill Nelson said Cunningham was an explorer whose work also laid foundation for the agency's new Artemis moon program. Cunningham was one of the three astronauts aboard the 1968 Apollo 7 mission, an 11-day space flight that beamed live television broadcasts as they orbited Earth, paving the way for the moon landing less than a year later. Venezuela and Colombia will fully reopen their shared border to allow passage of cargo and passenger transport via the cross-border Tienditas Bridge, Colombia Migration said in a statement. The South American countries reopened in September their border crossing in the western Venezuela after political ties strengthened under Colombia's new president Gustavo Petro. Petro and his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro appointed ambassadors in Caracas and Bogota, respectively. Colombian authorities have said since September that the reopening of the shared 2,200 kilometers border between two countries would be progressive. More than 500 literary personalities across the globe, including Nobel Prize winner Abdul Razak Gurnah, will be taking part in the 10th edition of Dhaka Literature Fest (DLF) to be held in Dhaka between January 5 to 8. The four-day event will feature a galaxy of international acclaimed authors, including Amitav Ghosh, Hanif Qureshi, Alexandra Pringle, Gitanjali Sri, among others. The DLF will have over 175 sections with discussions on science and technology, activities for children, young adults, film screening, theatrical, music, and cultural performance. Announcing this at press conference in Dhaka on Sunday, the organizers of the DLF termed it as Festival of Ideas. One of the directors of DLF said that the four-day event will also have discussions on films, OTT, science, and other topics of public interest. He said that the DLF will have presentations for children as well as women. Dhaka Literature Fest will also organize discussions on health, food, and cooking, among other topics. The event is being organized after a break of 3 years due to COVID-19 pandemic. The festival has generated a heated debate in the social media as it has decided to charge a daily entry fee between Taka 200 to 500 for visitors to the Literature Fest. The earlier 9 editions of DLF were free for the participants. France has announced that it will send light AMX 10RC armed combat vehicles to Ukraine. The announcement came after French President Emmanuel Macron called on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on January 4. A French official told this is the first time that Western made armed vehicles are being delivered in support of the Ukrainian army. However, the official did not give any details about the volume or timing of the planned shipments. According to the French Armed Forces Ministry, AMX 10 is an armed reconnaissance vehicle with a high level of mobility with a carrying capacity of 4 crew. According to media reports, France has already delivered modern artillery, armored personnel carriers, anti aircraft missiles, and air defense systems to Ukraine. International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva said the three big economies, the United States, Europe, and China, are all slowing down simultaneously. For much of the global economy, 2023 is going to be a tough year as the main engines of global growth. In October, the IMF cut its outlook for global economic growth in 2023, reflecting the continuing drag from the war in Ukraine as well as inflation pressures and high interest rates engineered by central banks like the US Federal Reserve aimed at bringing those price pressures to heel. Since then, China has scrapped its zero COVID policy and embarked on a chaotic reopening of its economy, though consumers there remain wary as coronavirus cases surge. Scientists from South Korea have recently developed a new water purification system that can quickly and efficiently filter out microplastics. Microplastics are tiny bits of various types of plastics found in the environment. The name is used to differentiate them from macroplastics, such as bottles and bags made of plastics. There is no universal agreement on the sizes that fits this bill. The US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and European Chemical Agency define microplastics as less than 5 mm in length. There are two categories of microplastics, primary and secondary. Primary microplastics are tiny particles designed for commercial use, such as cosmetics, as well as microfibers shed from clothing and other textiles, such as fishing net. Secondary microplastics are particles that result from the breakdown of larger plastic items, such as water bottles. This breakdown is caused by exposure to environmental factors, mainly the sun's radiation and ocean waves. The year 2023 is being celebrated as International Year of Millets (IYM 2023) globally under a proposal sponsored by India and endorsed by the United Nations General Assembly UNGA. India's proposal to declare 2023 as International Year of Millets was accepted by UNGA on 5th March 2021 with aim to create awareness and increase production and consumption of millets. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who led India's efforts in this regard, has the vision to make IYM 2023 a people's movement, alongside positioning India as the global hub for millets. India accounts for almost 80% of Asia's and 20% of global millets production. Being grown in more than 130 countries at present, millets are considered traditional food for more than half a million people across Asia and Africa. However, their cultivation is declining in many countries and their potential to address climate change and food security is not being realized in full. Dia Xiaomin, leading scientist in millets research at Chinese Academy of Agriculture Science in Beijing, on what IYM 2023 means for China and the world in terms of food security, green agriculture, and sustainable development by mainstreaming millets. In his exclusive interview, Professor Diaz said that millets can prove very helpful in achieving the sustainable goals of no poverty and zero hunger. Myanmar's military government will release 7,012 prisoners under an amnesty to mark country's Independence Day, state broadcaster reported on Wednesday, as the junta chief praised some countries for maintaining support for his nation. The Southeast Asian country has faced international isolation and Western led sanctions since military seized power from a democratically elected government led by Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi nearly 2 years ago. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing said in a speech to mark Myanmar's 75th Independence Day that they want to thank some international and regional countries and organizations and individuals who positively cooperated with the country in the midst of all the pressure, criticisms, and attacks. Myanmar has been in chaos since the army took power from Suu Kyi government on the 1st of February 2021, detaining her and other officials and responding to pro-democracy protests and dissent with brutal force displacing hundreds of thousands of people. Suu Kyi is being held in a jail in solitary confinement and military insists she has received due process by an independent court. Authorities typically release some prisoners to mark the day when Myanmar declared independence from British rule. Recently, a microbiologist from the University of Nebraska Lincoln in the United States found the first known organism that eats viruses. The organisms which eat viruses are called virivore. It has been identified as an actual species of protist that feeds on viruses. These virus eating species of protists, which are their kingdom on the tree of life and are not an animal, planets, or fungi, are now classified as virivores. It is a species of Haltria, microscopic ciliates that populate fresh water worldwide. The microbe Haltria is a common genus of protists known to flit about as its hair-like cilia propel it through the water. They are made up of nucleic acids, nitrogen, and phosphorus. It can eat huge number of infectious cholroviruses that share their aquatic habitat. These organisms can sustain themselves with viruses, consuming many and growing in size. The new findings may change our understanding of the role viruses play in the food chain at a microscopic level. Around 9,000 people are probably dying each day from COVID in China, says UK-based health data firm. Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan announces parallel government, directly challenges Pakistan's sovereignty. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has promised to tackle the country's most serious problems, from cutting inflation to reducing illegal migration. Luiz Inácio Lula sworn in as 39th President of Brazil. According to a study published in Science, the Earth gets warmer. Termites will rapidly spread across the world. This could in turn lead to a further rise in global temperature. According to a study published in Nature Communications, found that since 21st century, South Asian black carbon aerosols have indirectly affected the mass gain of the Tibetan Plateau glaciers by changing long-range water vapor transport from the South Asian monsoon region. World Braille Day is being observed every year on January 4th.